I'd now like to invite Saskia Gerhardy to talk to us about engagement. Saskia is an accomplished young leader who's studying for a Bachelor of Science in Biodiversity and Conservation at Flinders University, and she's probably well known to many of you for her tireless contribution to NRM and youth. Her experience includes working with the Willunga Trees for Life, the Willunga Environmental Centre and Regreen the Range, Natural Resource Management, NRM and Landcare programs. She's also the recipient of many awards, including in 2015, the Young Landcare Leader Award at the Premier's NRM and State Landcare Awards, and we were there when she received that, so that was fantastic. She has helped to develop the YACCA Group, a youth environmental action group which she now runs, and she'll be speaking to us about her work with them. The other thing that I just wanted to mention about Saskia is that quite often when I see her in these amazing hats. So I think she's a great hat person. So Saskia, over to you to tell us about engagement. Thank you. Can we welcome her?
Yes, this is my lucky hat and I'm going to need it today because, as you can probably hear, my voice is going. So I do apologise in advance for that. As you probably can notice, I am a young person. Yeah, I know. How many people under 25 have we got in the room? Just a hands up. All right. Yeah, my maths isn't great, but I'm going to say 10, and we've got 200 in this room. We make up 5%, guys. It's not uncommon though. When I go to lots of these conferences and presentations and environmental groups, the young people, we're not always present. And that's what I'm hoping to talk to you guys about today, is how to engage youth. I guess it's a hard thing to tackle. There are so many stereotypes and issues when we come to trying to get youth involved in environmental activities. I mean, there's smartphones and there's Facebook and social media and fast fashion and advertising and reality TV and all these stereotypes that young people get lumped into. I guess you could say we're the most connected group but the least engaged. And it's a really hard thing to try and tackle when we've got these huge environmental issues that we've been covering all morning. How are we going to get this young generation coming in and fixing these problems, becoming engaged, being a part of your community groups and about part of this environmental movement? Not trying to brag, but I think I might have the solution. I run a group called YACCA, and it's basically a group of young kids. I started it when I finished high school because I felt like I really wanted to be connected to the environment and these groups, and there wasn't a means for me really to do it. It started out with 7 odd kids, and now I have over 30. And I still have some of my original kids who are now running groups for younger students, and I basically don't need to be there anymore. These kids are so engaged. They run their own group. They coordinate their own activities. They have their own events. They come up with everything. I'm basically just sitting there emailing and making things work for them. When I was asked to do this presentation, I was asked to ask the kids, why are you engaged? And I did ask them that. And rather than give me a list, they prepared a video for you, which I think, again, shows their level of commitment and engagement. So quite a godsend, because who knows how long my voice is going to hold out. But I'd like to show you the YACCA kids' idea of engagement and how young people are engaged in this community and the environment.
Tales girls and boys and girls and marsupials.
Which stands for Youth and Community in Conservation Action. Say hi. Hi.
Hi, Alex, this is Christina.
We're amazing. We get to shovel piggies our child.
Squished many bugs.
There's no bugs out here. Okay, this is a tree. Hamish just fell.
Good
recording,
I'm walking down the street with some evil in my eye and some thoughts in my head that will make
Or
me
not,
feel
but you
high.
can't buy it here, but so I think you should put it upside down.
Walking around my dog when I saw the sexy face come
That's all what you doing now.
cheeky smile. She was
What do you hope to catch? What do you hope to catch?
Something that fancies peanut butter.
Hello.
Lots of education.
I need some findings.
We're causing an extension to the towel on my bed, and the waves were rolling like the ghost on those legs, like a sweet beach pillow with a centerfold spread. In the midst of the slumber, I heard some footsteps are creeping, and I woke to discover the woman I've been dreaming. She knelt down beside, said, "Can I share your pillow?" I rolled over and I said, "Well, hello."
I have a macaron vertebrate in my pants.
Some like money making, some like eyes, and some like the heads with
God.
those spies.
I really can't miss
It was like just.
You can touch it, you can feel it, it's like you breathe it. I like to eat and laugh and play down all these other things I know. Well, hello. Oh, hello.
Practical fun activity. And like actually start to care.
So like you enjoy planting stuff and you've still got your hands dirty.
Do something and tell them, like, oh, this is how you can fix it by doing this.
Come through these rhymes.
With YACCA, I've been able to feel like I am impacting like our community, and I'm helping.
I enjoy learning stuff about the environment and helping it.
That kids get into this stuff, so we have knowledge to fuel us like after YACCA.
Hello.
We're a community who's willing to learn.
Pablo.
Extra food, so that's good.
Oh, hello.
I didn't think you learned that for YACCA. Take a look at your semester.
So, thank you. Like I said, the kids put that together themselves. That's what they wanted to show you when I asked them, how can we show people that kids actually are engaged in the environment and that they do care. I don't think it needs much summarising, but I guess if you wanted some skills that you can pull from it, how we can be a society that better engages youth, I think the thing we need to do is to change. That's the first thing. We live in a system that maybe doesn't necessarily encourage young people coming through. We need to start flexing and adapting some of the principles that we have embedded in the systems. We need to start opening it up and letting kids come in and enjoy themselves. I think we need to start to listen to young people. I mean, they made you this video. They've come up with all our events. They know what they're talking about. They can see what's happening in the world and they can see that there's issues. We don't need to necessarily come up and tell them what to do and how to fix things. We need to listen to them and start hearing new ideas. Like we heard this morning, we've been running a lot of these programs for a long time and maybe not as much as we want is happening. We're not seeing the change that we want. And I think if we start incorporating young people and getting fresh ideas, we're going to start to see a lot bigger movement. I think we need to start educating kids and getting them real outcomes. Nothing engages a kid more than to see something that they've done and be like, I revegetated that area, I fixed this creek line. That's that's a way to engage young people. And I think lastly, we really need to let people and young people enjoy themselves. They're not going to come and spend their time that they could be hanging out with their friends or playing sport or being on their computer games if they're not enjoying themselves. So we really need to change the way that we do a lot of our programs and let kids into it. We need to talk to them and we need to start to adapt. And I think that's how we can better engage youth. So thank you very much.
Saskia, I'm going to ask you a question as well as I did of Mark, and you've spoken a bit there about how we need to better engage with youth, and they're some great ideas, so thank you so much. I'm particularly interested in how YACCA manages to keep the kids engaged with the work you do. If there were maybe, say, 3 things that you could give to us as really good bits of advice, just wrapping that all up, because you've given us a lot to think about, which is fabulous. Give us sort of 3 top things.
All right. I guess leadership as number 1. I hand YACCA back to the kids. I've basically said from the start that this is your group and I want it to go the way that you want. I think the fact that they are teaching their peers. So I've got these older kids teaching the younger generation. So they feel like they own the group. It means something to them. They're not going to leave it because they feel like they contribute something. And I think letting them have ownership of this group makes such a difference. So rather than me saying, well, actually, I'm really interested in, I don't know, bandicoots or something, which I am, but let's say none of the kids are interested. What's the point of them coming and hanging out and trying to learn something and do something if they're not actually passionate about it? I think we need to give them an outlet to express their own passion. So, all right, let's say leadership, passion, and what's a good last one? What was cake? Yeah. I guess just creating a space where they can hang out. A lot of the older kids now come, I think, just because they've made such great friends, and it's a space where they can just chill out. They come up to 45 minutes to half an hour early just to hang out in our environment centre, eat cake, chat with their friends. I'll just sit and talk with them. This is a centre that previously had basically no young people come into it. It was, mainly just people who, after a bit of information here or there. And now it's full of young people who just come to hang out. So I think giving them a reason to love it and to appreciate it and to just really feel attached and a part to something. I think that's my key.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.